Over the last 2.5 years, I have been completely milking the YouTube automation game. I've made over $3 million and I am just 21 years of age. And these are 10 YouTube mistakes that are absolutely killing your channels. These are mistakes that I've made myself throughout my journey and mistakes that I've seen hundreds of my students make before they actually joined my program and had success with YouTube. So I don't want to waste more time with these cheesy intros. This will just be a completely raw, no bullshit video. So let's get into the first one. It would be shadowbans. Now this is probably the most common issue that I hear people talking about, and it is because it is such a easy thing to happen. It sucks when it does happen, but it happens to a lot of people, right? So a shadowban basically means that you have a channel like this one. This is just a channel that I tried in February, and you can see I posted 2 videos. The first one got 4 views and the second one got 0 views. And if we actually go into the analytics here, you will see that it says, first of all, 4 views, and then impressions are just 6. If we scroll down to the origin of those impressions, meaning where viewers found the video, it would be mostly YouTube search, always 50% plus or even more, sometimes 100%. This means that the video is shadowbanned. Even this one, just 4 views, it is getting no reach on YouTube. 5 impressions in total. YouTube is not pushing the channel. So the cause of shadowbans is that YouTube is thinking that you are some kind of bot, that you're trying to just spam the platform with malicious content of some sort. So they're simply limiting the reach of your videos, right? And this is mostly due to people starting a new channel and then using that to post videos for their YouTube automation business. Instead, what you should be doing is that you should be using a personal channel that you might already have on the YouTube platform that you're watching this video with on my channel right now, and that you are watching, Mr. Beast with, all of those usual videos that you might be watching. And why this works so well is because usually in order to not get shadowbanned, you have to warm up your channel, meaning use it like a normal user. If you have, for example, an edge channel or a completely fresh one, you have to warm it up. But if you already have an existing channel on YouTube that you are already, browsing content with and all that kind of stuff, that you have already warmed that channel up for potentially even years or months. I don't know when you did create your channel, but potentially for a very long time, meaning that YouTube already is very likely to trust it. So if you have already subscribed to a bunch of people, you like people frequently, you comment on other people's videos, then that will definitely decrease the chances of you being shadowbanned. So the first mistake is not using your existing channel to start your kind of journey on. Now, the second mistake would be to have too niched packaging. So this kind of falls into your content strategy, your ideation, meaning the video topics that you create content about, and also how you map out the thumbnails, the titles, mainly the titles and the topic. The thumbnails, not that much. But let's take a look at one channel here that is called Financial Historian. Getting pretty good results, making a decent amount of money, probably between 5 to 10k per month, 15k per month maybe even. So it's going well, so to say. But if we just analyze the videos here and we see some are getting more views and are outliers, some are getting definitely, a lot of views, which is very good, but some are getting very little views. I'm not saying that this is the only reason why they're getting low views, but most of the time, the videos that are getting lower views, we will see a correlation that their packaging and their topics are very niched, like directed to a very niched community. So this one, super simple, 244k views, what survives when money fails? Like, that's a very broad topic that will have a super broad audience, and that is most likely why it performs so well. On the other hand, this one, you can kind of compare them to each other here. It is the Templar Money Machine, Europe's first multinational bank. If we just compare the titles here, you'll see that it is such a big difference on how broad the topic actually is. And this is a very common mistake from beginners. They try to niche everything down unnecessarily much, and that is ultimately just hurting your channel. Another example here would be, for example, how the Yakuza hijacked Japan's economy. It's slightly more broad than this one, but it's still very niched. We can look at more here. The mystery of Yamashita's gold, treasure or myth. Like, for someone who does not know who Yamashita might be, like, they're very unlikely to click on this video. So it has to be a diehard, I don't know what culture this is from, Yamashita, but they have to be a diehard fan of this specific story of the gold, I'm guessing it's Japan, in order to be interested in the content. So that's naturally gonna narrow down the amount of views that you can get so much. And this is ultimately killing your channel, or killing, on this specific example, it's killing these specific videos. Now moving on to the third mistake, it would be the for kids setting. So if you're uploading a video, let's say on your channel here, I'm just gonna press on create. I'm gonna choose some random video that I just have here, this one, let's say. And when you're uploading the content, you'll have a bunch of settings to play around with. And if you do select yes, it's made for kids here on the audience tab, then that will definitely decrease your views, because that is telling YouTube that they should put it in the made for kids section and not the regular just kind of platform, to keep it very simple. So if you do this, it is of course going to limit your views, because YouTube for kids is very different than what it is for not kids. So very simple thing to fix, but still a lot of people make this mistake because they just blindly go through and press all of this and then move on. But it should be set to no, it is not made for kids. Now the fourth mistake would be obsessing over vanity metrics. And I've written subs here, watch hours, and potentially even CTR, which is click-through rate. And this is because subs, they do not contribute to your money or revenue or success of your channel in any way possible. It is simply a vanity metric. Just looks nice. You get a subscriber plaque, of course, but there are channels earning 100K per month that have 20,000 subscribers. So subs is a completely irrelevant metric that you should not be using to determine your success in any way. You should be focusing on views solely and on average view duration and potentially CTR. I'll get to this. But watch hours is the same thing. Sure, watch hours is needed to get monetized, but it is not a metric that you should be using to determine if your content is, performing well or not. If you're getting a lot of watch hours, it's a good thing, of course, but that shouldn't decide how you are developing your content strategy too much. Now, for the CTR, it is a very important metric, do not get me wrong. For example, here you can see this is one of my latest uploads at this time. Going to the video analytics, I'll see that the CTR is just, by the way, you can see my atrocious revenue here for this video. You can see that the CTR is 5.9%. Now, the reason why I've written this in kind of with the exclamation mark and the question mark is because CTR is a very, very important metric. You should, of course, be monitoring this as you're creating and uploading on your channel. But why you shouldn't be obsessing over this if you truly don't know what it means is that if you have a video that has gone super viral and has a bunch of views, that will naturally have a much lower CTR or a slightly lower CTR since it has been exposed to so many impressions. So this in particular, it doesn't really have. It had a pretty high CTR from the start. It's kind of maintained it. But if you have a video with like 20 million impressions, it has got super viral, then the CTR is going to be very low and you might get discouraged from that and not kind of use the same packaging. When in reality, the video has been super viral, you should be using that packaging for almost every one of your uploads. So yeah, CTR is good if you really understand how it works, but if you're a beginner, simply do not only look at your CTR. And as I said, just as some extra sauce for you guys, you should be looking at the engagement and the average view duration. If you even scroll down on this page here, you'll find where people like drop off on your content. And this is the kind of the same thing. As your video goes super viral, you'll naturally get less interested viewers since YouTube is pushing it to a broader audience and your metrics are going to get worse. But when you upload a bunch of videos, you will start understanding what the average for your channel is, and that will help you see what is above average and what is below average and then iterate on that. So don't trust some guy telling you that you need to have a 50% average view percentage because it is very different for every single type of niche and every single type of channel. You can see here 10% I have for this video. It is my most viewed video on this personal channel so far, but 10% is generally super low for the average view percentage. So it is quite misleading. Now, number 5, not using playlists. And a lot of people are overseeing how good playlists actually are. But the way that you will succeed on YouTube and make a bunch of money is by when you get that one viewer, you simply keep that one viewer and make them watch all of your videos or multiple ones of your videos. And this is much easier to do through the feature called playlist. So if I just go over to my channel here, I'm gonna post a new video, for example. I'll just do the same thing again, uploading some random thing here. You'll see that when I go over to the, or actually when I scroll down, I'll be able to select a playlist. So I always put my videos in either the walkthrough playlist, because that makes sense for this kind of video, or the student interviews and testimonials. So when someone is watching your videos, so if you just go onto any video that I've created, you would see that the videos should pop up here to the right in the playlist. I'm not sure exactly how it looks anymore, but they can also find the playlist if they just visit your channel like this, for example. And you'll see the different playlists here. So playlist is a neat little trick. It's not gonna make you go viral, of course, or anything like that, but it does contribute to the greater good. So it is something that you should definitely not miss out on. Now, the next tip is closely related, and the next mistake here is that you are not using cards and end screens for your content. So it goes completely hand in hand with the reason for why you would want playlists. You want to keep people around on the channel for longer. But this is quite different. If you do apply, for example, a card like this, you can add whatever video that you want. You can add a playlist even, you can add a link. Then what will happen when you do add a video, for example, like this, you can place it in the end of your video. You can add whatever custom message or label that you want. It'll look like this. When you do this, and you then go over to your upload that you've posted, scrolling down to the description, the video will show up here. So this might not look like much, but when, for example, people are watching my videos here, they will scroll down, expand the description, and then they'll see this, like how Matthias made 15K in 40 days with YouTube, which is one of my students. And they'll be like excited, like, okay, how did he actually do this? He's 21 years old. I'm interested. And they will watch that interview. It might not look like much, but it's actually contributing to what I just said, that people are continuing to watch multiple ones of my videos. And this is done for every single video on my channel. So it is a very neat little trick. The end screens that you would add right here would serve the exact same purpose. If I go to the end of one of my videos here, for example, you'll see that these things pop up, like the link. Here they can subscribe to my channel, and this interview once again with Matthias. And these things actually make a way bigger difference than you might think. Now, moving on to mistake number 7, it would be focusing on the wrong aspects of YouTube. And that would be editing, for example, instead of focusing on your ideation and topics, which is arguably the most important part of your channels. Almost all beginners that I talk about, they think that editing is what will make you go viral, when in reality, it is definitely not. I have ran channels where it cost me $1,000 per video in purely editing costs, and I ran channels where it cost me, $10, $20, $30 per video in editing costs. And I can tell you that the channels where I've been able to focus on output and volume of videos and ideation, just spending $20 per video in editing, have performed better in terms of views than this one big channel where I spend $1,000 per video. So you shouldn't be thinking that the nicer and more polished editing you have, the better your channels will be performing. Instead, you should be thinking about the ideation. And I actually have some very good example channels here to prove this point. This one is called Late Science. I've talked about this many times. This is printing over 30K per month guaranteed. And if we just click on one of the videos here, let's see.
12 miles across. That's smaller than Manhattan. But inside this tiny sphere lurks the most terrifying...
You'll see. It is a AI voiceover and stock footage, and they're still making 30K per month. It is no advanced editing that looks, absolutely crazy and super nice. They're spending basically no money on the editing of these kinds of videos. The same goes for this one. This channel also printing. This one is printing probably over 40-50K per month. It's absolutely crazy.
Hey guys. Tonight we begin with the remarkable and remarkably stressed life of Elizabeth I, the so-called...
It's literally an AI image, some fire sparkles, I'm not sure what it's called. And that is it. And they're making over 40K per month with this one channel. And I even have another example here, and this is even crazier. This channel has printed over 100K in September. And if we just go on to watching one of the videos...
September 20th,
it is just an image showing and a voiceover. So this just goes to show that editing is not the most important thing you should be focusing on. You should be focusing on ideation. The one thing that all of these 3 channels have in common is that they found their unique niche and they're very good at the ideation of their videos. They're very good at making people want to watch their videos and not care about only the editing or what they're visually saying. They're more invested in the storyline and the topics at hand. And it doesn't only apply to editing. Another wrong aspect could be the quality of your voiceover. You could just proceed with a mediocre and slightly cheaper voiceover, or you can proceed with the most high quality, super expensive voiceover and spend a bunch of time on getting it done. That would be focusing on the wrong aspects. Many of these channels, for example, this one, I don't think it has the best voiceover. They have quite shitty voiceovers, but it doesn't matter because they've done the more important stuff very well done, and they don't spend a bunch of and waste a bunch of time on the voiceover, for example. Now, progressing on to number 8, it is not using AI and outsourcing. I think this makes a bunch of sense because if you are not utilizing AI in today's day and age, then you are definitely falling behind. If you're trying to do everything manually, or for example hire manual freelancers for it, meaning that you hire someone to write the script, you hire someone to write to record the voiceover in person like a human, you hire someone to edit everything, you hire someone to design the thumbnails, then you are pretty much lacking behind and you're losing a bunch of money by not utilizing AI. Thumbnails you can make with AI, most of them. Editing you can outsource to a VA if you're running a channel like this. It is just images. Virtual assistant, by the way, is what VA means. Script writing you definitely make with Claude, and the voiceover you just generate with a Level Labs or whatever website. And this not only means that everything will be much cheaper, but you'll also be able to save a bunch of time and move so much faster than all of your competitors, giving you that kind of unfair advantage. And when it comes to outsourcing, the modern kind of AI automation channel, it is outsourced to a VA. So since you should already be familiar with how to use all of these AI tools, if you want to find out, I have a bunch of tutorials on my channel, even breaking down the late science channel, how they make their content, everything. You should be familiar with how they are writing the script, how they are generating the voiceovers, so that you then can turn this into very actionable instructions for your team. And that way you only need a VA, simply because AI is kind of outsourcing this skill for you. You don't need any skill to do these tasks. You simply need to put down the time. And because of this, you can just hire a VA for, let's say, $5 an hour to create this content for you, meaning your margins will be, more insane than any other online business model that you will possibly find online. Now, for the last mistake, and this one is very important as well, you are inconsistent. And this will make the algorithm hate you. And kind of like I have been on this main channel here, you can see that I have some gaps where I don't post for 8 days. That is not good. When you get momentum, you need to stay consistent and ramp up the volume. The reason why I am not posting consistently on this channel, for example, is because I of course have my own channels to run. I have a bunch of other projects that I run. So this is not my main income source, this one channel. So it wouldn't make sense for me to spend all of my focus on this one and upload every single day. And the reason why this is so important is that because when you pick up traffic on your new channel and when you start getting a bunch of impressions, you have a brief window to really capitalize on this and make sure that your channel keeps on generating the same traffic. So YouTube works in a way that when you start picking up views, you need to ramp up the volume immediately. You need to post, and stay very consistent so that the algorithm doesn't, forget about your channel. Because that can really happen, that you get one video with a lot of views and then you stay inconsistent for 1 or 2 weeks and your channel simply dies out simply because you didn't pick up on that momentum. So in short, you should not be that guy that is posting 4 videos 1 week and then you don't post for 3 weeks just to post 4 videos the next week again, because that will never work out for you. You need to have a consistent posting schedule and actually be very disciplined in order to make a lot of money and succeed on YouTube. And that is literally it. These are the most common mistakes that people make that are ruining their channels. And these are the same mistakes that we are making sure that no one is making in the program, Faceless Launchpad that I run. And you can see like the results that people are getting here, they literally never stop. For example, just yesterday, we see here Caleb 412k views on a video. That is a very nice amount of revenue from one single video. And that's literally yesterday. Like, I can't make this up. It is, for example, here, Don Big Don updating his September results here on his channel. $8,000 from one faceless YouTube channel. That is more money than most people earn from their 9 to 5 that they grind day in and day out on. And this guy can just replicate his strategy once again and start multiple channels, outsourcing the previous one, and that way he's accumulating a bigger, income source every single time. So yeah, I don't want to talk too much about this. This is a private program. If you're interested in supercharging your YouTube journey and not make any of the smaller mistakes that I couldn't fit in this video, simply apply below. It is not a free program, of course. It is expensive since we bring you results. We help you create an income source that you can have for life, potentially, if you go all in on this. So it wouldn't make sense for it to be free since we spend a lot of time and dedicate, hours and tons of resources on you to make sure that you actually do get these results. So apply if you're interested. These spots are limited since our team is only big enough for a certain amount of people to help. And we only want to work with people that we genuinely believe will put in the work to get these results, because they will be there if you do put in the work. I'm only interested in making people succeed. That benefits me. So yeah, I want to make sure that we are working with the correct people. Apart from that, that is basically all for this one video. If you have any specific topics you want me to create content about, leave a comment down below. I'll create the most upvoted topics so I can see what you guys want to see. And yeah, if you enjoy what I make here on YouTube, leave a subscription, like the video, and I'll see you in the next one.